Hi everybody! Very happy that you're joining me again on these 50 music postcards making of videos. You know that we continue and will continue to celebrate Mexico with a selection of fine songs. This time we are talking about a very beautiful song, a very beautiful romanza in the zarzuela field. I have mentioned in the past that I have a very, very close passion for the zarzuela, and I have also made a comment in the past that not only we in Mexico are a mix of the two cultures, the local culture, the Aztecs and many other groups, as well as the Spanish and the Spanish that cultivated the zarzuela, also have a good a special page in the history of music in Mexico, because the company of the parents of Mr. Plácido Domingo, Pepita and Mr. Plácido himself, moved to Mexico in the past century. They moved here and they continues to run for a good number of years these representations of the most famous zarzuelas. It was also the place where many famous or many singers launched in Mexico their careers. So that's why the zarzuela is of a very particular importance, not only for myself but also for the history of this art in Mexico. Okay, enough talk for that. And the song that we have this week is Amor, vida de mi vida. I have done in the past, you know, that I like to be very sincere, very open with you, and that I usually like to start by sharing with you how is it that I learned about this song, why did I like it, what I find in this singer's way of doing it that I like to take as a takeaway or anything like that. And I have also been very open and sincere when I'm telling you when such a reference there is not, and that is the case. Because even though I have shared with you in the past that I have some recordings, zarzuela CDs, you know I am very old enough. I'm old enough to have some CDs, and I still keep them even though life tells me that I will be needing to sell them, which I of course don't want to do, but well, most likely is that I will have to. And I have the Placido Domingo's rendition of this song in one of those CDs. I also recall him singing it in recital. Not very sure of the strict the specific reference to it, but I recall him singing it in one of his many concerts that he has given in this very long career that he has had. Of course, also Placido Domingo is wanted to take the zarzuela to many of those places where he has sung. To the zarzuela needs to be remembered because of the artistical value that it has, and so that's the reason why he keeps singing it. Um, however, even though I have that CD and I have in my mind the one of those times when Domingo sang it live, and now that I recall it, also Villazon, you may have heard about him, Mexican tenor as well, under the care, guidance, and protection of Placido Domingo. Also had a very interesting career in Europe, mainly in the early 2000s. Uh, but even though I have been giving you references on where I heard it and all that, truth is that I really never paid enough attention to the song. Truth is that in those times, or those times that I have heard it, I don't want to say that that I didn't like it, but it just didn't call me. It didn't wake any type of emotions in my mind, in my soul. And as I have been thinking about why it was that, the reason is very simple. I really don't find myself in tune with with the recordings and interpretations that both Villazon and Domingo have made out of this song. And but I want to make reference to someone of which you will may hear if you happen to listen to this in order. You may find that we will talk with him and about one of his one song he sang later. If you're not following them in order, then you will realize that it makes maybe not much sense. But I want to make reference to Rafael Eguia, who was a colleague of mine. My lord, I believe around 13, 14 years ago, we had the chance of working for the same multinational company. So even though we had these very comfortable jobs in this multinational company, we found that we shared the same passion for music. He is not into classical music, understanding classical as this zarzuela, the Neapolitan songs, and opera itself, of course, but he's more into the popular genders. But I wanted to refer to him, even though we will have a separate video when we will have a conversation with him. And I recall that he has this absolute understanding and passion for music. And I really have very the same way I just barely remember Mr. Domingo's actual version of this song. I have very opposite to that. I have very clear in my mind how absolutely passionate he was about this song. I remember him telling me, "Amor, vida de mi vida" is an amazing song. It's heartbreaking. It's passion. It's like a volcano. It's everything. I have very clear in my mind how he used to describe this song, and in fact, that is the reason why I chose to put it into these 50 music postcards, because I asked myself, maybe it's a very beautiful song, but the only thing is that I haven't paid enough attention to it. So what I did is that I grabbed, and I am going to show you these scores, Zarzuela scores again. I know that I have shared with you in the past. I'm going to put it in front of the camera so you can take a look at it. This book, the Zarzuela book, is of course the book for baritones, as you can see in the lower part. This is a very nice collection of scores for baritones. And I recall that I have shared with you in the past that one of the characteristics of the baritones in the zarzuela is that they are not as heavy as they may be in most of opera roles. They are usually lighter, with a lighter, brighter voice, and the most beautiful songs or the most beautiful pieces in zarzuela go for the baritones. So there it is. They have their revenge. What does not people usually give the applause more to the soprano and tenor in the opera, but in the zarzuela it usually goes to the baritone, with so many amazing songs that have been written for them. And Amor, vida de mi vida, which I am about to show you again to put it on the screen. This is the actual score. The author is Moreno Torroba, the same author we have mentioned in the past, even though we have not brought any of his most famous zarzuela. We haven't brought it here. Okay, I'll do it in the near future. So, but he had not only the chance of writing the most famous zarzuela, that I am not giving you the name, I will give it to you on another video, recalling this one. And this zarzuela is called Maravilla, not as famous as the most famous that he has. That is not only his most famous, but it's the most famous zarzuela in the world. So Federico Moreno Torroba wrote this song, which I am about to put on the screen, and I would also like to call your attention to something that makes me very mad. If you run a very quick search in Google, you just Google it, Amor, vida de mi vida, and you type lyrics, you will run into this very comfortable version that Google shows us, and there you are. The reason why we are not following the score this time is because I really want to pay attention to the text itself. And since last time I did it, putting it on a separate camera, and trying to read the score turned out to be very messy. This time I prefer to show it, the lyrics on to you on the screen rather than messing up with the second camera and not actually being able to see anything, read anything, for at least for you, because of course I can read it. I am here, so okay. And the thing that I wanted to tell you that really makes me mad, I know that not everyone needs to know or needs to be an expert in opera. Of course, I can understand that. But what I cannot understand is why, if the author is Federico Moreno Torroba, which we have his last name here, and this is the name of the zarzuela is Maravilla, and inside that, or part of that zarzuela, we have the piece Amor, vida de mi vida. Why do they put Plácido Domingo's name under there? We are not referring to his version because this is not a recording, this is not a video, he's not the author of the lyrics. Why entering the name? Not because it's Plácido, it could be Jose Carreras, it could be any other singer's name. The singer's name does not belong to the place where I am reading the lyrics because the singer didn't write the lyrics. It does not belong here, and it has happened to me a good number of times when I look for the lyrics of a song. Say, let's say one very famous popular, let's say Con te partirò by Andrea Bocelli. You look for the lyrics, and then you have Andrea Bocelli right below the name of the song. We know he sang it, we know there are videos, but he didn't write the song. And we are not referring, I didn't look Amor, vida de mi vida by Plácido Domingo. So I really believe it's awful to give credit of the for in this case a romanza, zarzuela romanza, to a singer, because I insist, I know there are versions, there are many recordings, but we are not looking for his recording, we are just looking at the lyric. Okay, so that was just catharsis. Let's jump into the music now that I have had a chance of really going into this. Sorry to insist on that, but after reading, and I was telling you that it really never called my attention, and after going through the music, now I understand why it never called my attention. The way it is sung by Villazón and Domingo is for me too loud. Too loud. This is a very delicate song. Very, very delicate. With lots of nuances. Sometimes you're singing quietly, then you're increasing the volume. This is sort of slow, then you are singing a little faster, then you are increasing the volume of the voice, and then you are reaching a much higher note. So there are too many colors and emotions in this song that it has to be sung very differently to what we have already heard. Maybe there is another singer who has already done it like that. I apologize if I am just referring to Plácidos, because I am pretty sure someone, but because that's the one I know, but I'm pretty sure I hope that someone else did it. So it starts by telling, well, you said goodbye. Well, you said goodbye. And with you goes my life. My life goes with you. You wanted to cry for a love that we have to forget. But at the end, you go laughing while I am dying. My pain, my sorrow is to know that you cannot cry. Amor, vida de mi vida, you, the love of my life, how sad it is to say goodbye, because you are taking with you the youth of this love that can have no redemption. So this whole expression that you te llevas la juventud de este querer sin redención means something like, well, this love that I have for you, all this, the youthness of this love that I have for you, and that will never change. That's what actually the whole phrase means. Amor, que por el camino no puedes volver atrás. You, or love, that you cannot take the way back. You love when you feel that you wanna cry. And then you say, and to think that I really loved you with all my life and my soul, but today you just want to laugh at my pain and sorrow. This love that I dreamt of, I cannot keep it quiet. I cannot keep it for myself. All those words of you were so false. You lied 1,000 times. You lied 1,000 times of your love. The way it says to woman, it just refers to her. Amor, vida de mi vida, you the love of my life. How sad it is to say goodbye. You're taking with you this youthness, as I was just sharing with you, this love of youth that can have no redemption, that cannot be changed. This love that cannot take the way back. This love that you love when you should actually be crying. Goodbye forever. Goodbye. We will try to put some into emotion into this, because when you start the, and I will maybe refer a little to the score. I already know the number. It's page 36. I rehearsed it so many times that I actually recall what page it is on. And when you start, you say, Adios dijiste, se va mi vida. How should you sing? How should you sing that? If you sing it full voice, and you say, Adios dijiste, but there is no passion in there. Well, I mean, you can actually sing it full voice, but if you sing it full voice and try to give emotion with it, it feels false, right? When you saying goodbye to someone you love, I am pretty sure that the voice is almost, not sure if in English it's the same expression, but in Spanish it does. The voice is sort of strangled in your throat. You can barely speak. If you can barely speak, how can you sing out loud, right? So when we have this small ornament in the histe, it must also be sung as you are fading, as you are almost about to cry, because you're recalling that the love of your life has just told you goodbye. So you have to go something like, Adios dijiste, se va mi vida. You see, the emotion or the effect that you put into your voice, and it follows the same line. You look at this. Adiós dijiste, se va mi vida. Llorar quisiste por un amor que hay que olvidar. I also think that one has to put special attention on the consonants, because if you say por un amor que hay que olvidar, is much more effective than singing it. Por un amor que hay que olvidar. You see, when you sing it very legato, the emotion is different, because when you say por un amor que hay que olvidar, it reinforces the idea that in the beginning you feel the voice like strangled in your throat, you can barely speak. And when you say por un amor que hay que olvidar, you can also give the intention that you can barely speak each of these words. They are being strangled in your throat. You are not happy. So if you are about to weep, to cry, to give a sigh, por un amor que hay que olvidar, and then you recall again, te vas riendo, and there is a change. You can keep like, y yo me muero, or if you can say like fading, te vas riendo, y yo me muero. Emotion, not only the volume of the voice, but the emotion changes a lot. What did you prefer? Keep the two sentences, te vas riendo y yo me muero. Or there is energy somewhere out of yourself, and you say, y yo me muero. And this way you give more contrast to the fact that she's leaving you laughing while you are feeling like dying. You see? If you keep, or if you sing the two sentences with the same intonation, you feel that it's the same feeling that is carrying you away. But if you make a pause and you say louder, yo me muero, you are sort of giving the showing in the voice that there's this opposition of emotions in there. You go for the very first time for the phrase that gives name to this song. Amor, vida de mi vida. And you can do something very similar to that. You, as I, even though I am only marcando, I am not actually singing it, you can say like, Amor, vida de mi vida. Or you can give it more energy, more power to it, and say, Amor, vida de mi vida. Which, from my perspective, if you sing it like with all the power of your voice and with no emotions, for me it sounds fake, because look from how we are being carried with barely being able to speak, and when you hit Amor, vida de mi vida and you sing it just full, expressing nothing, I think that you are throwing the song away. So I feel it's more effective if you even let now that tone of sadness touch your voice and Amor, vida de mi vida, qué triste es decirte adiós. Instead of saying, qué triste es decirte adiós. If you notice, when you let the final syllable of each of the words like falling for a very small amount of time, from my perspective, it's more effective. Qué triste es decirte adiós. And now the whole song makes sense. The whole emotion is with you. Let's jump very quickly to this because you have already exceeded the 20 minutes. Remember that I try to keep it to that limit. Ay, pensar que te amé con alma, vida, y hoy te quieres burlar de mi dolor. Este amor que soñé no lo puedo callar. Look at this. Fueron falsas palabras, mentiste mil veces tu amor, mujer. Maybe here, now we can go. We are upset. We have been fooled by her, because you say, though all of those were false words, you lied to me 1,000 times. So I think it's acceptable in the score and the music. It is also much faster. So you can almost, if you wish, you can almost like yell. Fueron falsas palabras, mentiste mil veces tu amor, mujer. And there is also the couple of high notes that this part of the song has. But you have to be very, if you wish to, you can be very effective with this phrase. Fueron falsas palabras, mentiste mil veces tu amor. Because if you take it very low in sadness, like in before, which I believe is also possible, but it's not that effective, you can go, fueron falsas palabras, mentiste mil veces tu amor, mujer. It will also be much more complicated to justify the high notes if you're going in that low tone of sadness as we were starting with the song. I really invite you to pay attention to all those changes in the dynamics of the song. It's now that I have had the chance of going through it in detail, studying it more seriously, I want to say that it is that I cannot believe that I have never paid attention to this song. It is amazing, so full of meaning, so hard to sing. Because of all these changes, you need to work with the voice to try to be effective in conveying all those emotions. And I am very happy that I chose, or that I finally decided to make part of the 50 music postcards. With all that in mind, I want to thank you for joining me again and hope to see you some other time soon.